Welcome to 247 Real Talk. I'm your host, Julian Perry, and it's an absolute pleasure to be here with you once again for another episode of the 247 Real Talk podcast. It is right the night before I have to go live with this episode. I'm late again this week on a Thursday night when I usually record on Wednesdays. But I gotta tell you, I've been having a real difficult week in terms of my job and that same manager I told you about, but I'm not gonna bore you with that. That's just something that I have to go through in life and stand as strong as I can. But it's a pleasure to be here with you. I'm welcoming my continued supporters, my new supporters, and again, I always welcome those who have left. Maybe because I've tried to keep this podcast clean of any negativity and politics, and some people are looking for that, but. Come back and join us. We're uplifting. We're strong here. We're trying to do our best to make sure that things are better for you and for me. Won't be a long episode this week, but I want to tell you about a quote I read and the thoughts that it brought to me. So sit back, relax, and I'll be right back. All right, so I'm back. You might have noticed I turned the lighting down a bit. I hope you can, with my complexion, you can still see me clearly, but it was a bit in my eyes. I have lights in the studio, and depending on when I'm recording and for what reason, I dim the lights, maybe to get you to focus on me more and feel it more homey and cozy as we have a conversation. So this short episode this week is based on a quote I came across. I think it did come from my pastor again. He's such a great individual and someone who provides motivation from a human perspective as well. And this is by Steven Furtick, F-U-R-T-I-C-K. And it simply says, sometimes what we call interruptions are really invitations. Let me say that again. Sometimes what we call interruptions are really invitations. I had to think about that for a while because it hit me and it caused all sorts of thoughts. Thoughts with what I've been telling you is going on at work. Thoughts about every time I click on the TV for the news, what's going on in the world. Thoughts about how our fellow human beings, people that used to smile at us and act like if they liked us, have gotten a voice where they propose things, they say things, they support things that, are not just against other races, creed, colors, sexual orientation, genders, but also against humanity. And I thought about it. I thought about how many of us who had lives are going on one trajectory and something has happened. And it has changed us. It has changed our plans. It has changed our dreams. It has changed our enthusiasm. It has changed our hope. And yes, even people like myself who have our own belief, our own spirituality, I said where I come from is based on me, but this applies to any human being. It applies to that too because it provides struggle in everything you believe in terms of standing tall and standing strong, and in my case and in those who believe the same, having faith. The world has become a place where what we thought was unacceptable is now acceptable. Who we thought were friends are no longer friends. People that were traveling a path with us together have veered off the path or have abandoned us. It has interrupted our life, our flow, our comfort. Sometimes in ways that we feel like we're falling, we're crashing, we're in a bottomless pit. We're sliding down a tunnel, scraping the walls to hold it together, and we're losing our grip. But sometimes I wonder, metaphorically, when we feel that way, is it because we're holding on to that path that we were on before the interruption? When we maybe need to let go, turn our heads, look around, and see maybe somewhere in a blind spot or a place that we were ignoring is an invitation. Some people will talk about life objectively in a way and talk about karma. And for those of us who believe in karma, we have seen the balance of the world. Even when we look at the scales and they seem to be tipping and it's almost going to be too late and it's going to tip over, and even sometimes at the last moment, somebody puts a drop of hope in the other side of the scale and it's holding strong. But we're looking at it and we say it's going to break any day now, but all of a sudden, karma, faith, our creator, whatever you and I believe in, something comes out of somewhere that we could not imagine. Something caused us to look in a different direction. An invitation appeared in front of our faces that we could never imagine. And all of a sudden, those scales either start to move in a different direction, or in some cases, we just let the scales go because life presents us with a new scale that's perfectly balanced. What I'm trying to say is we live in a world and a time when interruptions are not the anomaly, they've become the norm. Interruptions in our finances, interruptions in our health, interruptions in our beliefs, interruptions in our systems, interruptions in our support, interruptions in our families, interruptions, and they're always going to be there. But how we decide to receive them and whether we look for those invitations that might be there. And don't get me wrong, I am not a psychic. I can't tell you where to look or even the fact that they're there, but I want to believe, and you believe too, that whatever you believe in, there is a balance in this world. Balance explains everything in our world, including why we can stand there. It explains gravity. It explains day and night and sleep and being awake. It explains that when good and evil meet, and when one side evil seems to be winning, the scale changes at some point. And even for those who are trying to push evil, they have their moments of euphoria when they rise, and it seems like that good is being crushed. We're always going to have those battles. It is the balance of the world. Even in chaos, there is balance. We sometimes look at things in a singular moment in time, and we see how unjust they are. But that also invites us to open our minds, to recognize sometimes the cycle of life, to understand that while not everyone survives, those who can stand strong will see the change. A wheel turns. If you're riding a bike and you put a mark on the wheel, as it rotates, what's high goes low, comes high again. Life is that wheel, the wheel of life. And along that journey, that wheel's going to hit a rock, a pothole. And the invitation might be there to fix the wheel or to learn how to fix the wheel or see an opening to buy a new bike. You get where I'm going. I've been dealing with something that worked. I've been telling you now it was probably 6 years. Then I got a break from one manager. And now it seems I'm in a cycle of cruelty. Not alone, mind you, there are others, but I'm one of those who's been chosen to stand in front of the most brutality, the most unfairness, the level where the foot is on my head as the example to rest, as the rest of my environment to make an example, call my name out singularly. Let me show you how I can crush a human being. How, because they depend on this job and this income to survive, that no matter what they do, no matter how many hours they spend a day, we make sure that we present a picture, and they keep in their minds that this human being is worthless. But you're not worthless. And I'm not worthless. And whatever another human being tells you is not what dictates and decides who you are and what you're worth. And as I feel crushed in a moment when I appear before you, may seem energetic, but inside I'm crying, I'm dying, I'm hoping, I'm screaming. I will stand in my faith, what I believe in. You stand on whatever you believe in that makes you a good human being. And if we stand long enough, either we will rise to the top above the oppression, or the interruption will provide us vision to an invitation that takes us beyond where we've ever been before. When you look around you, don't despair so much at what's going on in the world. Don't spend too much time dwelling on the erosion of the gains and the benefits some of our ancestors and those who came before us fought to achieve. Because even though it may seem that way in the moment, maybe it's a shift in the direction. Or maybe it's an invitation for us to continue their effort on a path that takes us further than we ever could have imagined. We were all created for a reason. We all choose in life how to live the time we're given. We all choose whether we want to be compassionate, whether we want to be loving, whether we want to be giving, whether we want to be supporting, whether we want to be part of a unified movement, uniting each other in goodness, or whether we decided that our life and what makes us tick has to be power and greed and the ability to crush another human being. You know that picture when there's a ladder and you're climbing the ladder and there's a fire below and everybody has to reach the top, and you get behind someone who's slow and you can maybe go between their legs and have them rest on your shoulders and keep climbing because you're stronger. Or you can go around them and step on their fingers till they fall off the ladder into the fire so you can get where you want to go. Those people who choose that path, they get to the top of the ladder. And before they're about to claim the prize, the ladder not only might, but if you follow true and in the truth of life, the ladder may crumble. With them reaching for the top, it within their grip. But because they've crushed so many below, there was nothing left there to hold them up. I'm going to try. I invite you to try. It's not easy. Today was one of those days when I was so beaten and so worn. Giving up was something that kept dangling itself in front of my face. Luckily, I had people I called and that I spoke with on the job, off the job. People with inspiration, people who give the same fuel to me as I give to you. And then I got this message. Maybe this whole interruption, this turbulence, is not about a crash. It's about recognizing an invitation. Remember, we stand together. There's nothing that can stand against us. As long as we stand in righteousness, as long as we're willing to take the pain will eventually ease. And we must, by the rules of this universe, we will prevail. Remember, the interruptions around us, the turbulence around us, the injustice around us, the evil people around us, the ones who smile in our faces but then stab us in our backs, the ones who smile in our faces and as soon as our faces are turned, do everything they can to discredit us, the ones who have the power to lift us but they let go so we fall into the fire. There's always someone there to catch you. And as you're falling, maybe if you look around, you'll see an invitation. The interruption may be the path to entering a new space and time of greatness by accepting an invitation. Until the next time, please take care of yourselves and each other.